So this is going to be a step-by-step tutorial on how to upload your song to distributors using DistroKid. So as you can see here, I've got quite a few songs on DistroKid, and I really love DistroKid, to be honest. Now we're going to just go into upload music. Now you need to be really prepared before you do any of this. Everything has to be ready. So what you need to know is the number of songs. If it's only one song, it's a single, but anything more than that is considered an album. So you want all of these services. If there's a specific service you don't want for whatever reason, don't select it. I always select everything. And then these other ones that are not automatically selected, you should select them if you want to make money from these platforms in case your song goes viral, and to allow people to use your music in TikTok and Snapchat and Roblox, right? So TikTok for me is the most important one. I want to use my own music in TikTok. I want to have the opportunity for a song to go viral. So we've got the 4 songs there. The social media pack is content ID for social media platforms, particularly for YouTube content ID. If you don't have this on, it means anybody can use your music and you won't get any money for it. You won't get any royalties for it. If you want to invest, this is what it's going to cost you in DistroKid. It's $15 a year. Plus they take 20% of the revenue. Now, this is the only sort of specific problem I have with DistroKid. I think that's a bit expensive. Other platforms like Ditto do it for free. Has the album been previously released? Most of mine are no, but if you do say yes, you want to add the original release date, but we'll say no for now. The artist and band name. As you can see, I've got quite a lot of artists in here, and each one of these artists takes up a slot. You can also use a collaborator. You can add a new artist. Is it already in Spotify? It knows I'm already in Spotify because I have previously released with this artist. And as you can see here with Apple and all these other platforms, not new artists, but once you've done it the first time, every other time after that, it's kind of automatically set. Now, this is the thing that's really important, the release date. Now, I know that my last song, the song that's coming out in the future, is going to be released on the 29th of May. So one thing worth doing is just going here and checking when you want the song to be released. I like to have it 3 or 4 weeks after my last release. So my last release is on a Friday on the 29th. So 3 weeks after that will be 1, 2, 3 is the 19th of June. So this release will be on the 19th of June. It's important to have it in advance because then you can pitch your song and give particularly Spotify more time to listen to your song and your pitch. In addition to that, if it's released in advance, it shows up in your profile in Spotify with a countdown date, which is really cool. So then you got release. I just leave this stuff alone. Release time, Spotify only, time synchro. I just leave it. I don't change any of that. Pre-order, I always do a yes. I mean, I hardly get any pre-orders, but you just never know. You might get something. Record label is always the same for me. Album price, you can set this yourself. If you want more chance of people buying it, obviously the cheaper it is, but I'm just going to set mine to the default of $10, even though it's only 4 songs, because the way I think of it is if someone really likes your music, they will just purchase it regardless of the price, because the difference between $10 and $4 isn't massive, right? So if they really want it, they're going out of their way to pay for something that's going to be free on Apple or Spotify, then I don't think money's the question. So you may as well charge the default price. You don't obviously want to go silly. I think the maximum price, let's have a look here. I think the maximum price is $15. I don't change the language, but obviously if you are an artist from South America or Asia or any other different country, you may, and you want to target those countries, you may want to change the language. Mine's English. Genres, I don't know how important genres are, to be honest, but you can select a genre. I just tend to select electronic, and I will do something like down tempo. And the second one is always dance. Where's dance? So you'll know after releasing several times what your genres are. If you are an artist that creates songs that constantly change genres, then I would think about that, because your fans, your followers want consistency. So if you're releasing electronic EDM one day and your next release is like, classical music, that's just not going to work. Add the album title. The album title is called This Strange Love. And as I said, there's 4 songs. So the way I do it, and I think many people do it, is a waterfall release. And that's why I'm doing 4 songs. The previous 3 songs were released in previous months, right? And then I'm re-releasing it with the new song, This Strange Love, as the first song. And the reason this works is because algorithm pushes everything to this song after you've submitted it for editorial review. Pushes streams to this song. You can push your promo and your meta ads to this song. And so whilst that's doing that, that's the first song, the other songs can also play. And because they're already algorithmically doing quite well, like they're relatively new in the algorithm, they'll also get likes, plays, and shares as well. So it kind of extends the life of the previous releases as well. But I kind of have a limit of 4, maybe 5 songs. And then you've got to, go with is it first in, first out? so the oldest song goes out and the last 4 newest songs stay in. So let's just go ahead and do that with the song title. Add featured artists to the song title. So the way this works is you can add featured artists to a title, which is super cool. So say, for example, I've got a new singer or a new artist, guitarist or whatever that I want to feature here. I will put their name on here, John Smith, whatever. They won't take up an artist slot, right? They are featured artists. They won't get the stats going to them. But if you add them as a primary artist, they do take up a slot in your subscription. They take up an artist slot. So you go from being one artist to 2. You've got to be super careful about that. You don't want to use up too many additional artist slots. In this case here, let's just do it for fun, right? We'll click on a featured artist, John Smith, version info to the song title. So the version info is really an extension of the title. It's not giving it really much more data. You can set it up as a radio edit. And as soon as you do that, it will say here, feature John Smith, radio edit. Or you can call it something else like a special version. You can call it 12-inch version for all the retro guys. So you can do lots of cool things like that. Let's just do that for now. Once again, I can change this a bit later. Now, this is the very important part, is make sure you've got the correct audio files. So in the desktop, I've created a folder with all of the audio files. That way I don't get too confused, not looking for them at the time that I am uploading. So the first song is called This Strange Love. So we're just going to upload that. Make sure it's a WAV file. They are the most lossless files you can get. I think FLAC is also lossless. Whatever has the highest quality, make sure you upload that. If you upload an MP3, it might still sound okay, but it's honestly not going to be as good. You've got this option to add an ISRC code. I'm not going to do that for the first song because that is a brand new release. We've never released that before. And then we also have the option to master your track with Mix-ER. I've never used that before, but I've heard good things about it. All of my songs are not Dolby Atmos, whatever spatial audio. I do not have that, but if you do, you can click yes. And this is another important thing. If another artist wrote it, if it's a cover song, you need to select that. You cannot upload a song that is a cover and say you wrote it. That will just cause you all sorts of problems. So this isn't a cover, but I'm going to show you what happens when you select cover. So all you need to do is put the artist name, put the original song title, and wherever it's optional, you don't have to put anything. DistroKid just kind of works it out for you, right? But the thing is, as soon as you use this, you will get charged $1 per month and $12 annually, right? So just be aware of that. That is absolutely fine, right? Especially if you're going to recoup that money, and it's a cover song, so it's more likely to get streams. But if you have, say, 20 of these, then it does increase the amount you have to pay. So just something to bear in mind. In terms of the cover song eligibility requirements, it has to have already been released in the US. It doesn't contain samples. Yes, really important. You can't use samples from the original song, or really any samples that are not cleared. So if you're going to use samples, use something like Splice. Just make sure you don't use samples where you don't have permission. The song can't contain audio that you don't own from social media, from TV, if that makes sense. And you can't really change the lyrics too much. So say, for example, I'm covering Purple Rain, which I'm not doing. It's just an example. If I'm covering Purple Rain, I can't call it Purple Banana or something like that. That is not going to be accepted, right? So, and not just the title, I can't change any of the lyrics as well. So let's just get rid of that, because I did write the song. And what I'm going to do is say, add my name. It remembered my name from last time, so it's nice and easy. Music and lyrics. If you have a different lyricist from the producer, you can add them separately as well, but I do not. And you can add as many songwriters as you need. Right. But you have to do that for all the songs. So if you basically have the same songwriter in all 4 songs, what you can do is click on this copy songwriters to all tracks, and it's done. You've got to specify whether it's explicit. Mine are never explicit. And whether it's a radio edit, you can say yes or no. And then whether it's an instrumental or not. Mine are not instrumentals. Doesn't include AI-generated music, vocals, or lyrics. This is a relatively new thing. Mine does not, right? But you have to be super careful. So if you click on Learn More here, you should probably find out a little bit more about AI. So even if you're using just a vocal or just a bass line and it's generated by AI, you need to add the credits as AI. If you're doing stuff like AI assisted mixing and mastering and workflows and pitch correction, that's been around for years and that doesn't count, right? So just be careful about that. And then we want to select the preview clip start time. I used to just leave this to the default, let the streaming services decide, but it actually can be an important thing because you're thinking about if your music is on TikTok, at what point does it start? And this is where you select it, right? So say, for example, it starts at 1 minute, then at that point, it will just start when people select your song and reuse it. That can make a massive difference to whether your song is viral. So just have a think about that. In this case, I'm going to let streaming services decide. Each track, if you want to sell it on iTunes and Amazon, I use the default price of 99 cents. I think with inflation, I'm starting to think about charging more, but honestly, I don't sell many. I might sell, 10 to 50 tracks, but everybody's different. Some people sell thousands. So this does matter to some people. Then you want to select the second song title. So the second song will be called 2 Times. That's my last release. And it's the same as before. Do we need a featured artist, etc. But what is going to be different here, let's upload the audio. What's going to be different here is you'll have an ISRC code. Now, this is really important to make sure that your songs are connected. So the amount of streams that you previously had for the song are brought into this song. The best way to do that is to open up another instance of DistroKid. So let's just do that now. And let's have a look at my last release. And you can see here, it's got the ISRC. So we can just copy that and paste it into there. We've already got the songwriter name and we've selected the audio. So we just keep going down. And that's pretty much it. Now, remember I showed you a featured artist. So you do need to find a Spotify URL, Apple artist URL, right? Or you can say, no, this guy doesn't exist anywhere. You want to make sure that the songs that you upload again are exactly the same songs. For example, use Driftwood and you're bringing in the ISRC code. The song is different. It will reject it and think of it as a separate song. Then your whole release is screwed. The way to be 100% sure is you can go into the previous release and then just download the song from the vault. Super easy, super cool. So you can download the songs that have already been released. Now, you must also, if you want to upload to Apple, you need to add credits. I've never understood this, but it's just needed. You need to add credits for a performer and one for a producer. So I will just do something like click on audio and just put my name, and same with producer. I'll call it a executive producer. And then I do the same thing. Copy this performer to all tracks on the album. And the same here, copy to all tracks on the album. So that's just done relatively fast. Don't know why you need to add all this stuff, but you do. And then you have all these other options that are going to cost you money. So let's have a look through them. Leave a legacy. So for a one-time fee of $49, DistroKid will never delete the album. It's always just going to exist. I think that's fine. I think if you are an artist, doesn't want to make music anymore, and you don't want to pay the subscription anymore, you can just select this. Then you've got the discovery pack. So things like addition to grace note, song recognition, audio fingerprinting. So yeah, that costs 99 cents per track and that's per year. So there's about $4 per year. I just don't select that. Store maximizer, I don't select that because you can actually manually add stores. So I just leave that alone. Then you got DistroVid video distribution. I don't select that, but I know some people that do. They can distribute a video version of the song. You just pay $100 a year for that. Loudness normalization, I don't do it. It's a one-time fee of $3. I like to think that I can master my own music. What it does is it brings your music to sort of that Spotify recommended level. Then the social media pack, which I've already talked to you about, I do get that for songs that are doing really well on TikTok. Then you've got to select all of these things here, otherwise it will not process. You can see here the album cover doesn't exist, so we need to go ahead and get that. That's the last step. So let's go ahead and select an image. I'm going to select this one here. There you go. That's a preview of the 4-track EP. Once that looks good, you click done. Now, if there's any errors at this point, the system will just flag that and then you'll be able to correct them. Hopefully there are no errors here. And it's a relatively fast process, as you can see. So once you've done that, you're not finished, right? There are some other things you can do here. So for example, just check that the dates are correct. Check your hyperfollow link. There it is. Initially, you're not going to see very much apart from a pre-save, and then you can add your lyrics. So let's just do that now, just quickly, and we can add our lyrics here. You can pay for something called a lyric blaster for all songs, not just this one here. So basically, it sends them to places like Spotify, and yeah, without this, you're not going to see your lyrics in Spotify. It's kind of annoying, actually, because it used to be free. But then you'll go in and select the lyrics itself, and you do need to put them into a specific format. So for example, the first letter needs to be uppercase, right? So that is also a little bit annoying. So you can fix that by going into an application like Word and just call it sentence case, like select everything and then call it sentence case. So every sentence starts with a capital letter. So let's just paste it like that. And then you click on Save Lyrics. Now, if you need to split the royalties, just click on the Splits button here. Let's find the song itself. And then you just literally go ahead and the song in particular that you want to split. So for example, the first one, we can add a collaborator like that and a percentage, and it will automatically add it up so it totals 100. I don't have any collaborators here. I just wanted to show you guys how to do that. Also, you'll see the song in My Music. So as soon as you upload it, it'll have this like little yellow dot called processing. And whilst it's processing, if there's something you want to change, for example, you want to add lyrics, change the credits or anything like that, you can do that now. So say, for example, I want to edit the release. You can go ahead and change certain things like the genres or any of this sort of information, even the release date you can change. And in addition, you can remove this release from all stores. Say you've completely screwed it up or you've made a big mistake or you've missed a song, then you can do that as well. You can remove the release. So guys, that's it. That's the step-by-step process. What do you guys think? Do you have any questions? I'm here to help if you need help. So thanks a lot for your patience and speak to you next time.